Right. Hi, everyone. Shall we start? Okay, right. So we were talking about the goals and aims of a business. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to ask you each and every one. So you have to just tell me a goal or an aim of a business, right? Because it's really important. So we know that not only in business organization, right? In our personal life also, we have goals and aims to achieve. So goal is something, a long-term expectation. So when you count a business, yes, and a goal, without a business, you cannot conduct a business just because that you want to earn some income, not like that. So you are driving a business with the set of goals and aims. And really important, we talk about a list of goals to be achieved. So really important concept that we discussed. Okay, let me ask you, Kagindahan. Hi. So first we have Anila. Anila, can you tell me a goal of a business? Right. If you cannot unmute, it's okay to use the chat box. But I would recommend and I would prefer if you could unmute and tell me an answer. Okay, maximizing profit, very good. We have Matisha. Matisha, what do you think about? The goal of a business. Yes, we know that maximizing profit. Right. Is that the only thing? Are you only concerned about the profit? Or profit ගැන විතරයි හිතන්නේ? Build a good position. Yes, you mean that a goodwill, right? So a good reputation, very good, right? A good reputation, goodwill, or a good image about your business. It's really important that. So there are so many benefits, especially to attract the customers. Alut customers attract karagana. So to attract the investors, so it's really good that, and also not only that, even to attract employees as well. සමහර businesses තියෙනවා සමහර advertise කරාට පස්සේ කවුරුත් apply කරන්නේ නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Why? Because of the bad image they have. But sometimes when advertisement is there, for example, world reputed companies, something like Google, right? You see a lot of applicants applying because of the reputation. Very good. So who else we have? We have Tarusha. Tarusha, tell me a goal or an objective of a business. What is that? Employee welfare. Okay, right, very good. Employee welfare. Right. Remember the fact, kids. It's really important that you achieve those set of goals. Because why? With this set of goals, there's a clear relationship with the existence of the business. Imagine that you are not providing a good welfare to your employees, you are not paying their salaries on time, you are not giving the benefits to your employees, right? And you are not build a good working environment. It's a really good thing, right? It's a question where how an employer, right? You know who is the employer? Is the business organization. So how do you provide a good welfare, right? Employee welfare කියලා අපි කතා කරා. අපි කොහොමද හොඳ welfare එකක් දෙන්නේ කියන එක අපිට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. So just give me 1 second. Right, good. So the question arises, how we provide a good welfare to our employees. First thing first, paying the salary on time. Now what will happen? Let's say, imagine you have employed couple of like 10 to 15 employees. When you are not paying them salary on time, they'll be dissatisfied, obviously, because they also have, couple of expenses to be paid. So in that manner, yes, and not only the salary, right? And I mean, in the sense that paying the salary as well as paying a reasonable, a fair salary, right? Not because that you are paying a lower salary, right? A fair, a reasonable salary. So which is on time. And also not only that, building a good working environment, which is health and safety, especially a period like this. මේ වගේ situation එකදී අපි කොහොමද health and safety එක ගැන බලන්න වෙනවා. So if we, as the employer, we need to make sure that the working environment is friendly and the working environment is safe and healthy. So that is something also we have to consider. And also the other benefits we should provide. And also we need to make sure that we work in line with some labor laws as well, right? So they are like to providing ETF, EPF, right? So the labor laws. So this part we'll be talking about when we come to our grade 13 human resource management lesson. This is something how you provide a good employee welfare. Correct. What else? What else? Who else we have with the list? Samet, can you give me a goal of a business? Right. Who else we have? Sanet, Ursula, and Senuri, you can also join, right? Can you give us a goal of a business? What a business would like to achieve? Okay, profit maximization that we took. Increasing customer satisfaction. Yes, customer satisfaction. Again, there's a question arises. How we satisfy our customers? How we satisfy our customers? Right? So charging a fair price, providing quality goods. So those are some basic, correct? So, and also, I think you should not forget about the rest of the goals as well. To increase the market share, to increase the market value of a share, owner's personal satisfaction, right? Doing something to the society. So these things also we should be mindful about that when we conduct a business. It's really important that we follow our goals. Correct. So very good on that. Now the moving to the next part. මොනවද ඔයගේ තාමත් අපි ඉන්නේ basis of business. නේද? ඔයගේ lesson number 1. මේක ඔයාලට හොඳ foundation එකක් දෙනවා ඔයගේ subject එකට. So that is why we are learning some basic concepts in this particular lesson. Right, now moving to our next subtopic. Basis of business, day 7, the evaluation of the businesses. අද අපි දකින businesses. දැන් ඔයා ගිහිල්ලා ගෙදරින් නේද? එළියට බහපු ගමන් තියෙන ඇත්තටම business නේ නේද? ගෙදරින් එළියට බහපු සමහරට ලේන් එකකින් ගිහිල්ලා main road එකට ආවට පස්සේ මොනවාද අපිට දකින්නේ? It's all about a business, it's all about a market. ඒකනේ සමහර අපි කියන්නේ market එකට යනවා නේද? town එකට යනවා, so something like that anyway. So it's all about the businesses. එහෙනම් අද අපි දකින businesses කොහොමද evaluate වෙලා ආවේ? අද තියෙන businesses විදිහටද අපි පටන් ගත්තේ? Right? So that's a really question that we need to ask. So there's an evaluation for everything, and even for the human mankind, there's evaluation, right? So we didn't start like this. We didn't start our life with computers and technology, right? So how we started and what is the current progress? So likewise, in the business world also, right? There's an origin for businesses. The businesses start from the origin point. So we need to discuss how far we have, achieved the terms when we come to the business. Correct. That is why you have some sort of main era, main steps, or the major, I would say, yes, the major eras in the evaluation of business. The first, we have something called barter system, right? For you to tell about the barter system, it's the system that we use to exchange goods and services. We didn't use any kind of money. Then imagine that you are going to the market without money. Instead, you are bringing something to exchange. So you are going to supermarket, not having money or a credit card or a debit card. You are bringing some sort of another commodity. The monari pol gidi arayina na kos hari del wenna pulang. So whatever good, right? Monari balang tigang plus, so you name it, right? Any good. So you try to exchange. And agila ganna monari fruits. And the fruits ganna vegetables dila. Vegetables dila monari walang tigang ganna. So any kind of food. So in that manner, there were no usage of money. So what we consider as the barter system or exchange of goods and services. Now we do not use the barter system much in nowadays. Adapi bhavita karana the godakma barter system. Habai 100% bhavita karanne naha. Right? Habai bhavita nokaranawa kiyannat bæ. So yes, at some point. Have you ever heard about some cases? People exchange vehicles sometimes. People exchange lands. People exchange even sometimes mobile phones. And I'm not sure exactly with that is possible nowadays, right? Because something like that. Anyway, now for example, exchanging a vehicle with a land. So there's no money involvement, right? Exchanging a land with a building or maybe something like that. So exchange market, yes, today also it's possible, but not for all the transactions that we do. So we use money instead. So yes, the second important stage is the introduction of money. Because why I'm telling like that? There are a lot of drawbacks. What do you mean by drawbacks? Limitations. And after the product, make it drawbacks the barter system. ඒක තමයි අද අපි මේක use කරන්නේ නැත්තේ. දැන් ඔයාට පැහැදිලි වෙයි when we discuss those set of limitations or the drawbacks, right, that we had to face. Right? Shall I tell you a little bit, just a small example? Now let's say that you are looking for some fruits, right? You are looking for some fruits. So you have fruits. Sorry, you have like some vegetables, right? You have some vegetables and you are looking for some fruits. Correct? So in that manner, there's a condition. There's a condition called double coincidence. Has to be met. The matching of the needs of the two parties. You meet a people, you try to meet another person, right, who is with fruits, right, who's having fruit, but he's saying, I'm really sorry, I don't want any vegetables, but oh, I just exchanged with someone else with some fruits, some vegetables, so I'm looking for some clothes, right? I'm looking for some another materials, right? Something like that. Hari enam me balanna. Oyata vegetables dila fruits ganna. Fruits tiyena kenek hamba wennat one. That's the condition number 1. Habai e fruits tiyena kena vegetables ganna kamathi wennat one. Right? Let me repeat it again. Hari enam කෙනෙක් ළඟ අපිට මොනාරි vegetable එකක් තියෙනවා මොනාරි carrot කියලා හිතමුකෝ, right? Carrot. So carrot එක මොනාරි banana. එහෙනම් ඔයාට අවශ්‍ය banana. එහෙනම් ඔයාට banana තියෙන කෙනෙක්ව මුලින්ම හොයාගන්න වෙනවා. fruits තියෙන කෙනෙක්. හරි හොයාගත්තා කියමුකෝ. done. But that's not the condition. That's not only the condition to be fulfilled. This person, this particular person, need to agree with to accept vegetables from you. If he's saying that I don't want any carrot, right? I just exchange with another person, or I'm looking for another good, so then the exchange is not possible. So likewise, there are some drawbacks. So you have to find so many people, right? Who's having the set of fruits and who's willing to accept vegetables for that. So likewise, there are some drawbacks happening. So in that manner, yes, it's not something practical what we do, especially when the increase of the population, increase of the needs and wants. So then it's not practical nowadays. So that is why we have some sort of a limitation, some sort of a drawbacks when it comes to that particular system. But the important point is that was the base for start to business. That was the base to start the businesses. එහෙනම් ඒක තමයි base එක උනේ to start the businesses. That is why we consider the barter system or the exchange system as the very first stage of the evaluation of the businesses. එහෙනම් අපි business start උනේ කොතනද කිව්වොත් from the barter system. හැබැයි now remember this far. Even before barter system, we had another system called a self-sufficient economy. Now let me come to that part as well. Correct. එහෙනම් අපි එකපාරටම barter system එකට ආවෙත් නැහැ. ඊට කලින් අපි ළඟ තිබුණා self-sufficient economy එකක්. නැත්නම් අපි මේකට තවත් වචනයක් කියනවා a direct production. Right. Now let me explain this part. Right, so then I'll come to the root and I'll ask you to highlight. Now what we do here, more discussions, more explanations, more listening and less writing. Correct. Right. Now, before coming to this barter system or what you know as a good exchange system, we have something called a self-sufficient economy. Self-sufficient economy. නැත්නම් අපි මේකට තවත් වචනයක් කියනවා direct production එකක් කියනවා. Right? Direct production. What do you mean by self-sufficient? අපි කියනවා සංපෝෂිතයි කියන්නේ. සමහරවිට මේ වචනේ අහලා තියෙනවා. Self-sufficient keyword that we produce in order to fulfill our needs and wants. Yes, we know as human beings we have some sort of needs and wants to be achieved. How we try to fulfill the needs and wants nowadays with a product. Now you know what a product is. Product is, it could be a good or service. So how we try to fulfill a need or a want by consuming a product. A product could be a good or service, sometimes a combination of both. Now, for example, I provide you a service of education, which is a need, and also sometimes I provide you tools, course materials, papers, something like that. So that's kind of a good. So it's a combination of good and service. A doctor might give you medical advice, which is a service, but also he prescribe, kind of medicine to take. So which is a product, which is a good. So likewise, most of the cases, a combination of good and services. Right. Now the problem arises during this particular period. Now, අපි මේ කතා කරන්නේ ගොඩක් කාලයකට කලින් නේද? සමහරට ඒක අවුරුදු maybe 400 500 years ago, right? සමහර එකක් වැඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරි බලන්න. Now how we fulfill needs and wants. එහෙනම් මීට ගොඩ කාලයකට කලින් කියලා අපිට needs and wants තිබුණේ නැද්ද? We still had the same needs. හැබැයි අද තරම්ම නැති වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. සමහරට education, communication එහෙම ලොකුවට තිබුණේ නැහැ. But still we had some sort of needs, right? What else? We had the need of food, right? Water, accommodation or shelter, I would say, right? Clothes. Did they have any kind of a market to go and purchase? Right? Did they have any sort of sellers? No. So what they had to produce all the goods and services by themselves. Now, ඒගොල්ලන්ට සිද්ධ වුණා මේ goods and services ඒගොල්ලන්ටම fulfill කරගන්න. එහෙනම් very limited, right? So very limited number of wants they had. So they went into agriculture, right? Maybe some harvesting some sort of vegetables, fruits, or maybe going for fishing and hunting. And for water, obviously, they tried to establish their households near to rivers or whatever, any water source. That is how those, the people started living, and maybe shelter and clothes. So they just try to fulfill their own things by themselves. Correct. Now what will happen? Now while you are doing everything, why? Because you are doing some agricultural things, you are going for fishing, you are producing some clothes. All that හැම දෙයක්ම කරනවා. ඔයා මේ විදිහට හැම දෙයක්ම කරලා you understand some point. මොනවාද point එක? I'm good at producing vegetables. I'm not good at producing fruits. I'm good at producing whatever those clothes, but I'm not good at fishing. So you try to identify what you are good at. It's like when you are doing all levels, you identify. You try to study a lot of subjects and you find a subject which is interesting to you, which you are very good at. Right? You are capable of doing. You select. So then now you are specialized on accounting or either accounting, business studies, right? IT or economics. So that's sort of your scope. That no longer you are going to study some math stuff or science, right? Chemistry. So you're not going to study those. So now you have some sort of a limited scope. Correct? So you're not going to have like 8-9 subjects in A levels. So something like that, you try to understand what you are good at, what you are not good at, or what you are interested and what you are capable of doing. So that is what, when we come to the specialization, the specialization came to effect. So you try to become specialized on hunting, specialized on fishing, specialized on fruits or vegetables. So as a result of a specialization, what happened? You end up with the excess production. So specialization lead to what? Excess production. So I'll take somewhere here, right? So the specialization lead to you to have excess production. Why? Because you are only producing some limited number of goods and services when it comes to the particular need. Now, for example, you are only producing fruits, some fruit items. You are only producing vegetables. So you don't no longer produce any clothing items. So you have excess of production of what you are producing. එහෙනම් ඔයා හදන මොන හරි product එකේ වැඩිපුර කොටසක් ඔයාලගේ තියෙන excess production. නේද? Imagine just have a household with just 4 members. එහෙනම් දැන් මේ 4 members ලට මේක වැඩි. නේද? සාමාන්‍ය මේක ගොඩක් අනිත් අයටත් දෙන්න පුළුවන් ලොකු product එකක් ඔයා හදලා අපි හිතමු vegetable fruits. right? එහෙනම් හරි සහල් වගේ දෙයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? You end up with excess production. Okay, now I should die, right? So here, I'll come to somewhere here. Yes, specialization. So with the specialization, so first you had this direct production. මේකටම තමයි අපි කියන්නේ self-sufficient කියලා. So as a result of the direct production, you end up with specialization. And as a result of specialization, you end up with some excess production, right? Excess production. Now, what we should do with the excess production? අපිට මේක ඔක්කොම කාලේ ඉවර කරන්න බෑ. අනික අපිට මේක විතරක් කාලේ ඉන්නත් බෑ නේද? පළතුරු විතරක් කාලේ ඉන්න බෑ. It's not the only need we have to fulfill. We have a list of needs and wants to be fulfilled, not just eating fruits all over the day. මුළු දවසේම පළතුරු කයින් එක නෙමෙයි අපිට තියෙන එකම දේ. Right? එහෙනම් we know that we wanted to fulfill the rest of the needs and wants. So we started doing what? We started doing of exchanging this excess production. එහෙනම් අපි ළඟ වැඩිපුර එළවලු පළතුරු whatever the item that you are producing, you try to exchange with your neighborhood or maybe within your village or within your living area. So likewise, each household, so this is just one household, and likewise we have some sort of very limited number of households, a neighborhood, not like high population, but very limited number of households. එහෙනම් කෙනෙක් සහල් හදනවා, කෙනෙක් පළතුරු, කෙනෙක් එළවලු, කෙනෙක් fishing, hunting, කෙනෙක් මොනවාරි clothing related items. So then they started to exchange with each other. එහෙනම් වැඩිපුර පළතුරු දින කෙනා ගිහිලා එළවලුත් එක change කරගන්නවා. Maybe there හැම එකක්ම excess production එක exchange කරගෙන they try to fulfill somehow they try to fulfill their basic needs and wants. Right. So then what happened? Yes, the excess production leads to the exchange of goods and services. Excess of production එක නිසා හේතුවක් වුණා for the barter system. Remember the fact, we do not treat self-sufficient economy or the direct production as a start of the business or the origin. මේක මතක තියාගන්න. අපි treat කරන්නේ නැහැ direct production එක business වල origin එක කියලා. So what we consider the barter system as the very first stage of the evaluation of business. මොකද direct production එකේ තිබ්බ නැහැනේ කිසිම exchange එකක් අපි අපිටම අවශ්‍ය දේවල් හදාගත්තා. So then we cannot treat that particular system as a business. එහෙනම් business එකක් start උනේ barter system. Why? Because now you might remember the explanation or the definition that we discussed. It's all about fulfilling a business is an economic activity which fulfills human needs and wants. Right? In terms of a compensation, exchange එකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන් නැත්නම් price එකකට sale එකක් කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. එහෙනම් මෙතන උනේ you try to exchange with another product and you try to fulfill someone else's needs and wants. So that's what we can consider this particular thing as the origin of the business. So that's about the system. And yes, I'll come to next, right? When I try to complete with the tips, I'll come to the next part, which is the drawbacks or the limitations. And I make up හිතපු තරම් ලේසි ක්‍රමයක් වුණේ නැහැ. There were a lot of drawbacks, limitations. මේ ක්‍රමයේ ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩාක් තිබුණා. ප්‍රශ්න බාධක challenge, so whatever the name you call. So we had so many of those. So that is why people came up with the concept of money rather than exchanging. අන්න එහෙනම් money based economy එකක් හැදුනේ. The reason is that because of the drawbacks that we had. Now imagine that going for shopping that you have to carry a lot of commodities with you, right? It's not going to be possible. Now even a small card only that you are trying to carry, right? So in that case, yes, you can still purchase goods and services. So it's really easy and convenient for everyone, right? So it's not going to have so many problems. Yes, of course, we'll be studying one by one, right? Now what I want you to do is we can directly come to the tune. Do not worry if you don't have the tune at the moment. We'll be receiving it soon, but you try to manage with the soft copy for today, right? So what we can do is I'm going to share the screen and try to highlight a couple of things. හරි මම හිතන්නේ මේ pitch එකෙනුත් ඔයාලට පැහැදිලි මොකක්ද what I try to explain. So it's like small household, they try to produce all the things that they want, a very limited number of needs and wants. ඒ කාලේ තිබ්බේ නෑ internet, right? Correct? Maybe that internet hari monari complex needs and wants තිබුණේ නෑ. Correct? Something like that. Okay, good. So we have this very limited ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි කියන්නේ කාලා බීලා ඇඳලා කරලා ඉන්නවා. That's all that they did most of the cases. Okay, let's highlight some key points. During self-sufficient economy, people produce the things which they needed on their own, which is also known as the direct production. Producing our own requirements by ourselves led to specialization, because like I said, you try to identify what you can do best, what you can perform well. So the specialization was developed as a result of this direct production. Because of the specialization, there was a surplus. This highlight, there was a surplus production. Later, these surplus products were exchanged with the producers of the products through this trade emerged. So where the trade emerged, with the name business start. So here, when you come to the barter system, right? So you started the barter system. You can see, right? You try to exchange fish with meat. Exchanging one surplus production with other one surplus production is known as the barter system. The trade and the indirect production were informed because of the barter system. Now let me explain this part. Now you know what is direct production, right? So producing for yourself. Then what do you mean by indirect production? Now indirect production means that you are focusing the market. You are producing, focus on the market. මෙන්න මෙතනදී excess production එකක් කරන්නේ වාගේ නේද? මේ household එකේ needs fulfill කරන්නම විතරක් නෙමෙයි මුළු ගමේම need එකට. එහෙනම් indirect production, which means that you are producing based on the market requirement, based on the market demand. So that's what we mean by the indirect production. So the direct production is something just for yourself, for your requirements, and the indirect production is the total market requirement or the total demand for the market. So then only you can exchange with your excess production. Correct. So the trade and the indirect production started because of this barter system. The barter system was the first stage. Please highlight. Barter system was the first stage of evaluation of the business. Producing for the market is known as the indirect production. Producing for the market, not just for their needs. It's for the total market demand. Good. So I hope that gives you a clear understanding about the evaluation of the business and the point where we. So we are now still in the early stages of the barter system. Right. Now it's for our time to discuss some sort of the drawbacks of this particular system. දැන් අපි මේක අදට use කරන්නේ නැහැනේ. Correct? එහෙනම් ඇයි මේකටින් අපි ඈත් උනේ? නේද? Why we are not using this. We no longer use this. But some small cases, right? Some incident we might use it. Like I previously said, exchange markets still exist for vehicle, for land, some sort of market, but not for our day-to-day goods. අපි market එකට යන්න මොනාරි good එකක් purchase කරන්න අපි කියලා goods exchange කර ඉන්නේ නැහැ. Imagine that you want to purchase some clothes. ඇඳුම් ගන්න කඩේට ගිහලා මොනාරි good එකක් දීලා ඒක exchange කරගන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. But instead we are using money. හරි අපි බලමු මොනවාද මේකේ තිබ්බ drawbacks කියලා. Right. Now the first drawback I already explained. What is that? Something called double coincidence. The double coincidence එක meet වෙන්න නැතිකම. Right. Now let me explain. Now the double coincidence is something right. The meaning of the double coincidence is that matching of needs and wants. Right. Right. Now imagine that. Now there's a buyer and seller. Now there are like two producers. The two producers in. හරි කෙනෙක් තමයි මම ආපහු ගන්න example එක let's say that some sort of a right vegetable producer and a fruit producer. හරි ගා මතක තියාගන්න double coincidence කියන්නේ ඒ දෙක match වෙනවා කියන එක. එහෙනම් drawback එක තමයි not having the lack of double coincidence. Remember that. ගොඩාක් students ලා ලියනවා මේ drawback එක double coincidence කියලා නෑ. Lack of double coincidence. මොකද double coincidence කියන්නේ needs match වෙන එකට. හරි එහෙනම් මේ බලන්න. person A person B. person A ට ඕනේ fruits. එහෙනම් එයා හොයාගෙන යනවා fruits තියෙන කෙනෙක්ව. fruits තියෙන කෙනා හම්බ වෙනවා. කවුද? person B. එයා කියනවා ෂා මමත් මේ හොය හිටියෙම කවද? vegetables තියෙන කෙනෙක්ව කියලා. අන්න එහෙනම් දෙන්න match වෙනවා. දෙන්න match වෙනවා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ needs match වෙනවා කියන එක. needs and wants. right. එහෙනම් එහෙම වෙනවා නම් හැමතිස්සෙම so that is good. That's better. Why? The needs are matching with each other. So then both can come to an agreement to exchange it and fulfill their needs. එහෙනම් මෙයාගේ තියෙන වැඩිපුර vegetables මෙයාට දෙනවා. මෙයාගේ තියෙන වැඩිපුර fruits මෙයාට දීලා මේ දෙන්න මේක exchange කරගන්නවා. Now both are happy. Right? Why? දැන් මෙයාට vegetables උත් තියෙනවා fruits උත් තියෙනවා. Right? මේ පැත්තෙනුත් මෙයාට දැන් vegetables ලැබුණා අනිත් පැත්තේ fruit. So both are happy. It's like a win-win situation, right? So both parties happy, right? But unfortunately, අවාසනාවකට මේක හැමතිස්සෙම මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හරි අපි බලමු incident එකක්. The incident number 2. Same person. So yes, මෙයාට vegetables තියෙනවා. මෙයාට fruits තියෙනවා. හරි. එහෙනම් මෙයා අමාරුවෙන් හොයාගන්නවා fruits තියෙන කෙනෙක්ට. But unfortunately, person B is saying that I'm sorry, I already exchanged with some fruits, some vegetables. I'm looking for some clothing items or some other need. එහෙම නැත්නම් කියන්න පුළුවන් no, I'm not interested to exchange with vegetables. I want something else. Correct. So this person is telling that he's looking for some clothing items, right? Some clothing items, or let's say some sort of a cooking materials or something like that, or some spices, something like that, right? So let's say some clothes. So maybe the vegetable guy is trying to find a person who is having clothes, then try to exchange with some clothes, then come back to his, right? Come back to him. Correct. So this could also possible. In a method you have to go some lot of intermediary transactions. Fruits එකනා කියනවා නෑ මට vegetables නෙමෙයි ඕනේ මට ඕනේ clothes. එහෙනම් සමහරලාට vegetables කෙනා clothes කෙනෙක්ව හොයාගෙන යනවා එයාගෙන් clothes ගන්නවා ඊට පස්සේ එනවා මෙයා ළඟට. මෙන්න දැන් මම ගෙනාව clothes මට දෙන්න fruits කියලා. Something like that. එනවාට මේ විදිහට ගොඩාක් transactions වලට යන්න වෙනවා. But if you think like that, unfortunately clothes කෙනා කිව්වොත් නෑ I'm not looking for vegetables කියලා. again on තවත් කෙනෙක් හොයාගෙන යන්න. So it consumes more time. නේද? අද වගේ නම් මේකට කිසිම කාලයක් නැහැ. නේද? අද සල්ලි දීලව සමහර goods and purchases ගන්න වෙලාවක් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් because of the lifestyle that we have sometimes. So then how possible a person who need to find lot of person and try to get what they wanted. So this is right something very difficult to adhere. So that is why we have set of drawbacks. Correct. Good. So this is the main one. So not only that, we have a list of drawbacks. So first I'll come to the T-root and I'll first explain the first one and then we can discuss one by one. Correct. The first thing, shall we write lack of, so I'm referring to page number 18, lack of double coincidence. Remember, you need to say lack of, right? Lack of කියන්නේ ඒක නැහැයි කියන එක. නැත්නම් just double coincidence ලියන්න එපා. ඒක drawback එකක් නෙමෙයි. Double coincidence කියන්නේ match වෙනවා කියන එක. coincidence එකක්. නේද? match වෙනවා කියන එක. දැන් අපි කියනවා lack of double coincidence කියලා. ඒ match වෙන එක නැතිකම අපිට limitation එකක් වෙනවා. Right. Now let's see what they are telling. The functioning of the barter system requires a double coincidence of wants on the part of those who want to exchange goods or services. It is necessary for a person who wishes to trade his goods or services to find some other person who is not willing to buy his good or service but also possesses that good with the former wants, with the farmer wants. Shall we take it as a farmer? හරි. එහෙනම් මේක තමයි මම මෙච්චර explain කරේ. එහෙනම් මෙයා ළඟ fruits තියෙන්නත් ඕනේ. fruits දීලා vegetables ගන්න කැමති වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. There are like two conditions have to be met. මේ බලන්න D කියන person fruits දෙන්න කැමති වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. vegetables accept කරන්න කැමති වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. හරි දෙකම match වුණොත් තමයි මේ transaction එක possible. So that's the only way. එහෙම නැත්නම් මෙයා කියනවා නම් නෑ මට vegetables නෙමෙයි ඕනේ කියලා මෙන්න match වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙනම් එක දෙයක් තමයි A ට හොයාගන්න වෙනවා fruits තියෙන කෙනෙක්වත් first thing right fruit තියෙන කෙනෙක්ව හොයාගන්න වෙනවා දෙවෙනි එක fruits තියෙන කෙනෙක් හොයාගත්තත් එයා කැමති නැත්තම් fruits අරගෙන fruits දීලා vegetables ගන්න එතනත් ඒක possible වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙනම් අමාරුවෙන් හොයාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා fruits තියෙන කෙනාව හොයා ගන්නවා. හැබැයි එයා කියනවා එයාට ඕනේ vegetables නෙමෙයි කියලා. So that's what happens when you don't have the double coincidence. Right. Shall we come back again? For an example, suppose a person possesses horse and wants to exchange it for a cow. අපි බලන්න කෙනෙක් ළඟ horse කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා අනිත් පැත්තෙන් is looking for a cow. In the barter system, he has to find a person who not only possesses a cow but also wants a horse. මේක highlight කරගත්තා නම් හරි. කියන්නේ cow කෙනෙක් ඉන්න කෙනෙක් විතරක් හොයාගෙන බෑ. එයා කැමති වෙන්න ඕනේ cow කෙනෙක්ව දීලා horse කෙනෙක්ව ගන්න. එහෙනම් මේ දෙකම match වුණොත් තමයි possible. The existence of such a double coincidence of one is a remote probability. කිව්වොත් හරිම rare තමයි මේක වෙන්නේ. එතනදී ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. The lower end of the range of the probability. So what do you mean by remote probability? It's a very less chance. You know, always this needs going to be matched with each other. So it's laborious and time-consuming process, right? It's very time-consuming. Time-consuming. To find out person who want each other's goods, often the post owner would have carried through a number of intermediate transactions. සමහරවිට කීප දෙනෙක් අතරට ගිහිල්ලා තමයි අන්තිමට හොයාගන්න වෙන්නේ. A person might have to trade his horse for some sheep, then sheep for some goats, and goats the cow at ultimately. සමහරට එහෙම වෙරන්නත් වෙයි. horse වල දීලා මුලින්ම sheeps ලා ගන්නවා. සමහරට sheeps ලා දීලා ආපහු goats ලා අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ තවත් මෙන්න cow දෙකට change කරනවා. මේ වගේ intermediary transactions. To be successful, the barter system involves multilateral transactions which are not possible practically. Consequently, if the double coincidence of one is not matched exactly, please highlight. If the double coincidence of one is not matched exactly, no trade is possible. ඉතින් ඇත්තනේ නේද මේ දෙක match වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් කිසිම trade එකක් නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ. Thus, the barter system is a time-consuming and it's a great barrier to the development of the expansion of trade. Correct. So I hope you are clear with. I have provided some more explanations. උඩටික පෙන්නන්න පුළුවන්. හරියවා mean this one. ඔව් මම මේකෙත් දෙන්නම්. දැන් මේ කාට කරන්න තියෙන ආපහු මේ point එක ලියන්න තියෙනවා. මාට ඒකට summary points ටික මෙතන ලැබෙනවා. Right? So lack of double coincidence. ඒ වගේ දැන් හැම point එකකම explanation එක තමයි පල්ලෙහා මම දාලා තියෙන 1 by 1. හරි. එහෙනම් අපි යන්න හදන්නේ ආපහු second point එක. ඒතර ආපහු ආට second point එක මෙතන ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Correct? So this is something you can complete. For this explanation of this picture, I'll come. That's a funny picture. I'll come with the explanation. Right. Okay, අපි බලමු දෙවෙනි එක මොනවද කියලා. Shall we write the point first? Lack of common unit. Lack of a common unit. ඒ වගේම ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මෙතනත් ඒක අප්ඩේට් කරගන්න. Right? Lack of a common unit. ඔයාලට මෙතන බලපු ගමන් ඒක summary එකක් පේනවා. Right. මොනවද මේ කියන්නේ? Let's see. Another difficulty under the barter system relates the lack of a common unit. මේ බලන්නකෝ දැන්. අමාරුවෙන් හොයාගන්නවා fruits තියන fruits දීලා vegetables ගන්න කැමති කෙනෙක්ට අමාරුවෙන් හොයාගන්නවා. හරි එහෙනම් අපි හිතමු carrot. මෙයාගේ vegetable එක තමයි carrot. මෙයාගේ fruit එක තමයි අපි හිතමු pineapples, something like that. Okay, right. දැන් ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ carrot කීයකටද pineapple කීයක්ද exchange කරන්නේ? දැන් carrot farmer කියනවා මම බොහොම අමාරුවෙන් තමයි මේ carrot වගා කරේ. ඒ නිසා මට මල්ලක අපිට මෙයා වගේ හිතමු carrot දැන් ඒ දවස්වල නැහැනේ unit එකක් නේද? ඒ කියන්නේ kilos වෙන්න පුළුවන් liters carrot නම් liter වලින් මන්නේ නැහැ නේද? ඒ වගේ measure එකක් නැහැ අපි මේ කතා කරන කාලේ so it's a long time ago that we are talking. එහෙනම් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මොනාරි quantity එකකින් තමයි ගණන් කරන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපිට මොනාරි මෙයාලගේ තියෙනවා carrot අපිටම 10ක්. right? මෙයා කියනවා carrot 10කට දෙන්න කියලා pineapple එකක්. දැන් pineapple මේක right? ලොකු එකක් තියෙනවා මේ විදිහට. හැබැයි fruit farmer මෙයා කියනවා නෑ මට මදි. මම බොහොම අමාරුවෙන් මේ pineapple එක හදාගත්තේ. මට අඩුම ගානේ carrot 15ක්වත් ඕනේ. carrot ගෙඩි 15ක්වත් ඕනේ කියලා කියනවා. මෙන්න එහෙනම් common measure එකක් නැහැනේ මනින්න. එහෙම මනින්න කිසිම ක්‍රමයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි අද අපිට පුළුවන් අද අපි everything we measured by money. Right? So 1 kg of carrot how much? එන්නේ අපි අහන්නේ price එක කීයද? හැබැයි මේ දවස්වල කිසිම money use වෙන්නේ නැහැ. No measurement unit. එහෙනම් ප්‍රශ්නයක් එනවා. කරේ. ඊට පස්සේ මෙයා කියනවා නෑ 15ක් නම් දෙන්න බෑ එච්චර වැඩි. right? අන්න ඒ නිසා බලන්න අමාරුවෙන් මේ කෙනාව හොයාගත්තත් but then because of lacking of these lack of those common measure of unit So then again, there's a problem. So that's what explained in the second drawback or the second limitation when it comes to this part. Hari අපි බලමු මොනවාද? ටියුට් එකෙත් මම තවත් detailed explanation එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා. Hari, let's come to that part. Another difficulty under the barter system relates to the lack of common unit in which the value of goods and services should be measured. එහෙනම් මේක measure කරන්න common measurement එකක් නැත. Even if the two persons who want each other's goods මම අර කලින් කිව්වා වගේ දෙන්නටම ඕනේ දැන් මේක exchange කරගන්න. But the problem arises as to the proportion in which the goods two should be exchanged. කොච්චරක් the quantity එක කියන එක ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා. There being no common measure of value, the rate of exchange will be arbitrarily filled. What I mean by arbitrarily is that randomly. මේක අපි දාමෙච්චරක් දෙන්න කියලා අපි හිතමු. Fixed according to the intensity of demand for each other's goods. දැන් සමහරලාට මෙයාට අනිවාර්යෙන්ම ඕනේ මේ pineapple ගෙඩිය ගන්න නිසා එයා සමහරට කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ නේ ඔප්ෂන් එකක් නැහැ බොහොම අමාරුවෙන් මෙයා හොයාගත්තේ එයා agree වෙනවා හරි මම එහෙනම් ඊළඟ දවසේ තව කැරට් පහක් අරගෙන ඉන්නම් 15ක් මාරු දෙන්න something like that මොකද options අඩුයි දැන් අපි නම් කිව්ලොත් මේ කඩේ prices වෙනවා තව නේද there are so many shops that we can go and purchase but it's not like that so limited number of suppliers or producers එහෙනම් එතනදිත් අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන නිසා අපි සමහරට agree වෙනවා right agree වෙනවා rate එක වැඩි වුණත් this makes accounting also impossible. Here the one party at a disadvantage. Most of the cases one party is at a disadvantage in terms of trade. උදාතන නේනම් කැරට් කෙනාට පාඩුවක් වුණා. හැබැයි කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ ආදේක දාගන්න වෙනවා. And also this makes accounting impossible because the balance sheet would consist of a long physical inventory of the various types of qualities of goods on. හරි. දැන් අද අපි බලන්නේ ඔයා දන්නා if you are studying accounting balance sheet එකක් නැත්නම් statement of financial position or it could be a profit and loss account as well. Even for accounting, how do you accounting? So when you don't have a common measure of unit, so everything it's in LKR or US dollars or whatever the currency. That's how we calculate the profit. So that is why even accounting is not possible in this particular system. Why? Because you have a list of goods to report. Foods measurai, vegetables measurai, clothes measurai, because you cannot just measure in a common value. Even the accounting is not possible these days. Why? Because you cannot measure. The money measure concept in accounting what record කරන්න පුළුවන් money වලින් measure කරන දෙයක් විතරයි. නැත්නම් you cannot record. So that is why even accounting is impossible due to not having a common measure of units. So that's something that we can tell about this part. Right. What else we have? That is why the existence of the barter system is associated with small primitive society. Yes, the small primitive society. So සමහර ඔයා බැලුවොත් ඔය පාරන movies වගේ නේද මේ system එක දැක ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මම කියන්නේ movie එක පාරණයි කියලා නෙමෙයි. සමහර අර history වගේ movies වලදී මේ වගේ සමහරව දැකලා ඇති market වල මේකට exchange කරනවා. If you have watched a TV series called Spellbinders, right? සමහරට ඒකෙත් අර එක පොඩි කොටසක යනවා මේ වගේ primitive society එකක් market එකකට ගිහිල්ලා මිනිස්සු goods exchange කරගන්නවා. නේද? ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සල්ලි නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන් හදන වැඩිපුර product එක ගිහිල්ලා exchange කරගන්නවා. ඒත් මේ වගේ අපිට සමහර movies TV series වලදී මේ වගේ incident practically දැක ගන්න පුළුවන්. Primitive society එකක්, right? Not highly developed, very highly primitive ප්‍රාථමික සමාජයක්, very limited number of needs and wants. So then only that's possible. Right, with that, moving to the third drawback. අපි බලමු මොනවාද third drawback එක කියලා. Lack of indivisibility. And the lack of indivisible. Let me explain. Indivisible. Lack of indivisible. And also please update here as well as the third point. Lack of indivisible. Let me explain. Lack of indivisible. Right. දැන් මොනවාද මෙතන කියන්නේ? දැන් මෙතන රේට් එක මොනවාද? මෙතන රේට් එක කැරට් 15කට පයිනැපල් 1යි. Do you agree with that? මේක වැඩිද රේට් එක කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මේක තමයි දැන් ඇග්‍රී වෙලා තියෙන රේට් එක. බලමු මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ කියලා. Carrot 15කට neda 15 carrot 1 pineapple. හරිද? ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. දැන් හිතන්න මේ pineapple ඕන. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ producer හිතනවා මට carrot 15ක් වැඩි. මට ඕනේ carrot භාගයක් තිබ්බ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේකෙන් භාග සාමාන්‍ය 7ක් වගේ. එතකොට මොකද කරන්න වෙන්නේ? රේට් එක මේ ගෙඩියෙන් භාගයක්. right? pineapple half. ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ නේද? දැන් pineapple වගේ දෙයක් කපන්න පුළුවන්. ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒක issue එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. භාගයක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි සමහර goods තියනවා නේද? indivisibility. සමහර ඒවා බෙදන්න බෑ. අපිට මොනාරි ඒ දවස්වල use කරන්න නැතිනේ මොනාරි මැටි හට්ටියක් වගේ ගන්නකො. Is that possible? දැන් අපි හිතමු මේ රේට් එක carrot 15කට මැටි හට්ටි 1යි කියලා හිතමු. Something like that. Right? So we have here this thing carrots, right? Carrots 15කට මේ පැත්තේ මේ වගේ මොනාරි උයන්න ගන්න මොනාරි material එකක් තියෙනවා. නේද? Pineapple is something divisible. ඔයක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. Okay. හැබැයි මෙතන පුළුවන්ද මේක දෙකට බෙදන්න? බෑ. එහෙනම් එහෙම වුණා there's no value for that. Cloth එකක් මොනාරි cloth එකේ භාගයක් දෙන්න බෑනේ. And not possible. Now there are some goods, right, which is indivisible. Podi කොටස් වලට කඩන්න බෑ. දැන් fruits ගොඩක් වෙලාවට fruits vegetables වගේ පුළුවන්. But when it comes to some certain goods it's not possible. එහෙනම් කෙනෙක් කියනවා මට ඔච්චර වැඩි මට ඔකින් භාගයක් දෙන්න. එහෙනම් මේක පුළුවන් නේද? carrot 15 භාගයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. 7.5 or 8 or 7. But how we can divide into small quantities? Correct? So in that manner, there's a question on that as well. And I mean, the drawback එකක්, the lack of indivisibility. නේද? කුඩා කොටස් වලට වෙන් කරන්න බැරි කම. Correct. Let's see. There's a good explanation here. You can even read those. හරිම explain කරන්න. මේ බලන්න. Good example is there. If a sheep had been divisible, a payment of 4.5 sheep for a horse might have been mutually satisfactory. හරි මේ බලන්න. මෙන්න රේට් එකක් තියෙනවා. Right, let's see. A farmer, make a farmer name, please correct this. A farmer, හරි මේ බලන්න මේ example එක. The farmer may demand more than 4 sheep. Sheeps ලා 4 දෙනෙක් ඉල්ලනවලු horse කෙනෙක්ට. හරිද මේ බලන්න. Sheeps ලා 4ක් ඉල්ලනවලු horse කෙනෙක්ට. Right? අශ්වයෙකුට sheeps ලා 4ක්. පැහැදිලිද? ඔක තමයි rate එක. ඊට පස්සේ කියනවා හැබැයි මේ horse අයිති කෙනා කිව්වොත් නෑ මට sheeps ලා 4ක් වැඩි මට දෙන්නෙක් ගන්න බැරිද? දැන් සමහරට අපි මාකට් එකට ගිහිල්ලා එහෙම අහනවා නේද? මට මෙච්චර වැඩි මට මේකෙන් half දෙන්න. Something like that. දැන් අපිද මොනාරි product එකකට දැන් අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ නේද? මේ දවස්වල අපි ඔක්කොම measure කරන්නේ money වලින් example එකකට අපි හිතමු මොනාරි meat or fish kg එකක් නේද 1 kilo අපිට 1 kilo වැඩි මේක half දෙන්නේ 1 kilo 500 නම් මේක half ගත්ති 500 grams so just 250 rupees so nowadays it's possible නේ සමහරට අපි කියන මෙච්චර වැඩි නේද ඒක භාගයක් දෙන්න මේ විදිහට කියනවා එහෙනම් අර ඕස් ඕන මොනවද කියන්නේ මට sheets ලා හතරක් වැඩි මට දෙන්නෙක් ගන්න බැරිද එහෙනම් දෙන්නෙක් ගත්තොත් මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ rate එකට එහෙනම් පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නේද මොකද්ද ප්‍රශ්නේ So the rate is like 4 sheep for one horse, but if the horse owner asks only for 2 sheep, then it's like half of a horse. It's not possible, right, to divide. As it's not possible to divide his horse, no trade will be possible between the two persons. So thus the indivisibility of certain goods makes the barter system inoperative, right? The indivisibility for certain goods. Right. So kids, can you please do this little check? After make a lack of indivisibility with a meaning of product when after make a indivisibility of certain goods. There are certain goods, there are some goods, yes. Some goods, yes, it's possible. So shall we change this into indivisibility of certain goods? Shall we write the point? Indivisibility of certain goods. But there are some goods it's possible, but there are some goods not possible. So shall we use the word certain goods? Right. Please update here as well, right? Third point, indivisibility of certain goods, not all the goods, but there are some goods we cannot divide into small quantities. Indivisibility of certain goods. Right, so kids, I hope we are clear up to this point. Right, if you have any concerns, any questions, doubts, please drop a message. So I'm always looking to the chat box, right? So please note that, so you can please keep that interaction from your end as well. Right, with that, shall we move to the fourth one? Is that all good? Shall we write the point? Difficult to store some goods. Difficult to store some goods. Difficulty in terms of storing goods. Drawback. Let me explain. Difficulty to store some goods. Right. හරි. දැන් මේ බලන්න. දැන් අපි මේ කතා කරන කාලේ තිබ්බද refrigerators, deep fishers තිබුණාද අපි මේ කතා කරන කාලේ? නෑ නේද? deep fisher තිබ්බන අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම money introduce වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි එහෙම තිබ්බේ නෑ. එහෙනම් අපි කතා කරා excess production එකක් කරනවා කියලා. හැබැයි මේ excess production එක ඒ දවස ඇතුළත ඔයාලට exchange කරගන්න බැරි වුණොත් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් ද මේක store කරලා තියන්න? බෑ. එහෙනම් facility එකක් නැහැ. එහෙනම් මේ බලන්න carrot fruits වෙන්න පුළුවන් vegetables meat fish මේ දේවල් වැඩිපුර produce කරලා ඔයාලට සිද්ධ වෙනවා within a limited time. සමහරට maximum 2-3 days you can keep. But apart from that you cannot keep with those equipment like fridge, refrigerators, deep fishers, something like that. අපි දන්න ගොඩක් වෙලාවට meat, fish වගේ ඒවා you really need. So that is why you cannot go for like excess production. Excess production එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඔයාට මේක store කරන්න we don't have such a facility. You need to make sure that you produce and you try to exchange it instantly, the right after that. Correct. So shall we write that point as well? So there are some problems with storing the goods. Right. Under the barter system, it is difficult to store value. Anyone wanting to save the real capital over a long period, store කරලා තියෙනවා. දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට meat, fish වගේ store කරලා තියෙනවානේ. පස්සේ sell කරන්න. හැබැයි ඒ කාලේ මේව බෑයි කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. Right? As people trading cattle, grains, and other such perishable commodities. What do you mean by perishable commodities? ඉක්මනට ඒක perishability වෙනවා. නැත්නම් ඉක්මනට ඒකේ very limited time duration. So it's very expensive and often difficult to store and prevent their deterioration. What do you mean by deterioration? It's like getting expired, right? Getting expired soon, quickly, some sort of a product. So then you have to make a loss. Marvel excess production එකක් කරත් මේක store කරගන්න බැරි නම් අන්නවට loss එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට සිද්ධ වෙනවා මේක ඉක්මනටම exchange කරගන්න. හැබැයි සමහරවිට exchange කරගන්න කෙනෙක්ව හොයාගන්න බැරි වුණොත් you cannot keep store කරලා තියාගන්න බෑ because you don't have such a facility. Right. Number 5. Shall we write difficulty to make future payments? Right. Now let me explain this fact. Difficulty to make future payments. Difficulty to make future payments. Difficulty to make future payments. අපි මේකට කියනවා deferred payment එකක් කියලා, right? Put a slash and write a deferred payment. Deferred, right? Deferred. Let me explain. Fifth point, difficulty to make future payments. එහෙම නැත්නම් deferred payments defer කරනවා කියලා අපි කියනවා. Difficulty to make future payments. Not difficulty to make deferred payments. Deferred. Right. Now, what do you mean by deferred payments? Now, let me explain. Now, when it comes to businesses, sometimes we can purchase goods on credit basis. Another credit basis example like good set right? Sahal venna puluwan, right? Some grocery items, right? Or maybe some biscuits, some fruits. Right, a total of, let's say, 6,500 worth of goods, because we can measure, right? So we agree that we'll be settling this within 2 weeks, right? Before end of the this month, we'll be settling this 6,500. So no issue. මොකක්ද මේ defer payment එකක් කියන්නේ? You do the transaction now and you settle later. So that's mean the deferred payment එක. Transaction එක අද කරනවා හැබැයි settle කරන්නේ later. A deferred payment එකක්. But is that possible in the barter system? Example එකක් විදිහට මේ බලන්න. So again we have like two producers. අපි හිතමු මේ පැත්ත සහල් produce කරන කෙනෙක්, rice producer. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් කෙනා ඉන්නවා මොනවාද අපි හිතමු fruits. Right? Fruits. එයා කියනවා මම ළඟ නැහැ fruits මට පුළුවන්ද මේ පැත්තෙන් සහල් කීපයක් දෙන්න සහල් kgs ගානක් I'll settle later මම පස්සේ දවසක ඔයාලට fruits දෙන්න පුළුවන් දෙයම කියන්න ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අමාරු වෙනවා අයි මම එහෙම කියන්නේ එකක් තමයි at this point මේ rice producer ළඟ කිසිම money එකක් නෑ නේද එයා කරන්නේ එයාගේ ළඟ තියෙන stock එකෙන් වෙන කෙනෙක්ට exchange කරන එක ඒ නිසා මෙයාගේ මොනවත් ගන්නෙ නැතුව without taking fruits මෙයාට rice produce කරොත් එක පැත්තෙන් යාගේ quantity එක අඩු වෙනවා ඒතර යාට අනිත් goods and services exchange කරන්න rice නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් අනිත් පැත්තෙන් the second point is that how we assure the quality of the fruits that he might provide හරි මේ බලන්න දැන් යා කියන මම 2 weeks වලින් ඔයාලට fruits ටිකක් ගෙනල්ලා දෙන්න එහෙම කියනවා අද අරගෙන යනවා 10 kg of sahal 10 kg of sahal ගෙනියලා කියනවා 2 weeks වලින් මම ඔයාලට පළතුරු ටිකක් ගෙනත් දෙන්නම් right හරි අපි හිතමු දුන්න agree වුණා කියලා මෙයා person A agree හැබැයි after 2 weeks how can we assure the quality of the fruits provided by this particular person B මොකද දැන් already මේ සහල් නම් kg දීලා ඉවරයි හැබැයි මෙයා දෙන fruits ටිකේ quality එකේ සහ quantity එකේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද දැන් එයාට ආපහු එපා කියන්නත් බෑ. Why? Because this particular person A has already provided with him this particular product. එහෙනම් මෙතනදී deferred payment එකක් කරන්න chance එකක් නැහැ. බලන්න මෙතනදී no issue right we are paying just 6500 ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. Because ඒක අඩු කරලා දෙන්න බෑ which we can measure in this is the money measurement so in that manner what happened is in this case because we agree to provide later අපි කියන පස්සේ product එක ගෙනත් දෙන්නම් එහෙනම් එතනදී there could be some quality issues so that is why it's not going to in terms of practicability there are issues and අපි consider කරනවා the lack of deferred payment එහෙනම් අද goods ටික අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා පස්සේ දවසක අපේ goods ගෙනත් දෙන්නම් කියලා කියන්න අමාරුයි. මොකද එක පැත්තකින් මෙයාට ඒක දීලා වෙන product එකක් ගන්න තියෙන chance එක නැති වෙනවා. අනිත් පැත්තෙන් quality එක පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්නයක් එන්න පුළුවන්. So a problem might arises with the quality of the fruits which will be provided after 2 weeks. Okay. I hope that part is clear to you. Right. අපි බලමු මොනවාද ටියුට් එකේ තියෙන්නේ කියලා ඊ පැත්තේ. Right. මොනවාද කියන්නේ? In a barter system, it is difficult to make payments in future as payments are made in goods and services. තේරුණාද? payment එක කරන්නේ money වලින් නෙමෙයි එයා payment එක කරන්නේ තව good එකක් එයාට දීලා. එහෙනම් debt contracts are not possible due to disagreements on the part of the two parties. It would often ignite controversy as to the quality of goods or services to be repaid. Please highlight quality. එහෙනම් එයා දැන් quality එක අරගෙන යනවා හැබැයි සති දෙකකින් එයා දෙන fruits වල quality නැති වුණොත් අපිට complain කරන්න විදියක් නැහැ. ඒත් අපි already අපේ පැත්තේ good එක දීලා ඉවරයි. අපිට ඊළඟ සැරේ පුළුවන් එයාට නොදීන්න but this time yes there could be some problems with some quality issues. Okay. So those are the drawbacks, the major drawbacks that we can say when you come to this part. අපිට මෙතන තවත් එකක් add කරගන්න පුළුවන්. I think there's no need of explanation. ඒක තමයි the lack of transport facilities. අර අපි store කියලා කිව්වා නේද? එතනම අවශ්‍ය නම් තවත් එකක් point එකක් නැත්නම් තවත් additional point එකක් විතර අපිට ලියා ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. Lack of transport facilities as well. ඒකත් drawback එකක්. ඇයි? දැන් ඒ දවස්වල තිබ්බද developed transport modes. So lack of transport facilities. In making product tanning that අරගෙන යන්න ගන්න obviously to exchange. So then it's a lot of difficulties, especially livestock වගේ සතුන් ප්‍රවාහනය ඊට පස්සේ දැන් සමහර දේවල් ඉක්මනට perishable වෙන දේවල් ගොඩාක් දුර අරන් යන්න අමාරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අරන් යන්න වෙනවා ආපහු අරගෙන එන්න වෙනවනේ ඒක දීලා good එකක්. දැන් අපි හිතමු සහල් වගේ කොහොමද අරගෙන යන්නේ ලොකු quantity එකක් දීලා අරගෙන යන්න වෙනවා මේක exchange කරගන්න. So likewise there could be problems when it comes to the transportation as well. So the lack of transport facilities. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම transportation එකක් තිබුණේ නැහැ ඒ කාලේ. Correct. Well, so that is about the first stage of the evaluation of the businesses and the drawbacks or the limitations of this particular product. Correct. Okay, so is that something clear to you? Any unclear points? So I hope it's clear. So please use your chat box. If you have any questions, please let me know. හරි දැන් එහෙනම් මොනවාද මේ හැම ප්‍රශ්නයකටම solution එක? When there's a problem, there should be a solution. නේද? අපි කියන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒකට මොකක් තියෙන්න ඕනද? විසඳුමක් තියෙන්න ඕන. So when there's a problem, there's a solution. Now what is the solution? What is the solution? Can someone tell what's the solution for this one? මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට මොකද්ද solution එක? I would say yes, it's just the introduction of money. එහෙනම් මේ ඔක්කොම නේද? lazy අපි හැමෝම money use කරා නම් so the no longer we have to carry on those set of goods and අපිට තව දුරටත් මේ goods අරගෙන යන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. We can just do what? We can say the fact that we can use money. So the introduction of money came to impact. Introduction of money කියන එක අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙනම් දැන් ඔයාලට මේ විදියට fruits ගන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් ඔයා මොනවද කරන්නේ? මේ බලන්න දැන් ඔයා vegetable producer කෙනෙක්නේ. ඔයා මේක sell කරනවා money වලට. So you earn money and what you can do? When you have money, you can purchase almost everything. එහෙනම් ඔයාලට දැන් පුළුවන් fruits විතරක් නෙමෙයි. Right? Fruits, rice, right? Fish and meat. Right? So whatever the things that you want, you can just purchase. So that is how this barter system didn't work at all properly because of the lot of limitations. In order to address those limitations, in order to address those drawbacks, people introduced money. So when you have money, what happened? You produced vegetables and you sell and you earn some money. And then you purchase whatever the requirements. So the same thing applicable to the fruit producer as well. මතකයිනේ fruit seller තිබුණා මෙතන fruit producer. එහෙනම් එයා මොනවද කරන්නේ? එයාගේ fruit sell කරනවා. Earn money and then do what? Purchase vegetables, not only vegetables, the rest of the needs and wants. So likewise, everyone started selling and earn money. So then using that earn money, so they can purchase the rest of the needs and wants that they wanted to fulfill. So that is how the second stage of the business is the introduction of money. It's kind of a turning point in the barter system, in the evaluation of business. Unless otherwise, we also would have been like still using this particular barter system. Imagine that barter system සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔය නේද මොනාරි you know, even overseas flight trip it's not possible. Because why? You need to have some goods with you in order to exchange. චරෝනේ ලංකාව ඇතුළේ ට්‍රිප් එකක් ගියා නේද? ඔයාලට goods ඔක්කොම අරගෙන යන්න වෙනවා. ඇයි? ඉතින් හැමතැනම තියෙන goods and services exchange කරන්න. So no use of money. Right? Correct. So I hope that's clear. හරි. දැන් අපි කතා කරමු money. හැබැයි මතක තියාගන්න when you say money නේද? අද අපි use කරන debit card, credit card, the printed money එකපාරට තිබුණාද? නැහැ. Again there's a evaluation of usage of money. And the මුලින්ම material money, ඊට පස්සේ coins, the gold coins, silver coins, ඊට පස්සේ gold coins වගේ දේවල්, ඊට පස්සේ තමයි මේ printed money, ඊට පස්සේ checks, ඊට පස්සේ මේ electronic money, e-money. දෙකපාරටම e-money වලින් පටන් ගත්තෙත් නෑ. So again there's evaluation of money. So and how the evaluation take place during the with the time frame, right? Now it's time for us to discuss that part, the evaluation of money. Right, shall we come to this particular point? Various materials were used as the medium of exchange. Yes, now you no longer exchange a commodity, but instead that you are using money. Correct. So it was the best solution. The evaluation of money from the barter system to the present can be sorted as follows. Product ලාට නේද මොනාරිවා exchange කරා ඊට පස්සේ මේ විදිහට එන්න අද අපි develop වෙලා තියෙනවා. So you have this set of things. Let me explain. First, what we had was like the use of materials. සමහරට අහලා ඇති මොනාරි ඔය seashells වෙන්න පුළුවන්, tobacco වෙන්න පුළුවන්, එහෙම නැත්නම් මොනාරි gems වගේ දේවල්. So just use materials as money. අපි මේකට කියනවා commodity money කියලා, right? So that was the first stage. The first stage example like something like seashells, right? Why we are telling like that? So we have some evidence. Even now in the we have found some sort of seashells in kind of a middle of the country. So that we believe that there was a exchange, something like that. So the use of material, something like seashells and tobacco, we have heard, right? Then use of metals. So then people started use of metals, something like gold and silver, right? Gold, silver, copper. Third point taker, what do you think? The use of metal money. Values were imprinted on the face of the metal. එහෙනම් දැන් මේ metals money එකේදී just metals. ඒකේ මොනවාද නේද? හැඩයක් හරි මොනවාරි coin එකක් විදිහට හදලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. එහෙනම් මොනවද කරේ? Metal money became metal money. How? So the gold became gold coins. Gold became gold coins. Silver became silver coins. So likewise. හරි මේ බලන්න වෙනස. Use of metals වලදී just piece of metals. එක sizes වලින්. හැබැයි use of metal money. So you try to create a set of money with some standard measures. So gold metals, gold coins. So it's a very particular standard format. So that's what when you come to the third step. When you come to fourth step, as you can see, it's about the use of coins and notes. That is why where the government introduced, with the government authority. You don't have to worry why. We discuss this part when you come to our lesson number 7 in our grade 12 syllabus, which is money and financial institutions. In detail in a use of coins and notes කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවාද? අපි අද මේ use කරන coins, right? Notes and coins අපි use කරනවා. එහෙනම් ඒක මොනවාරි ඒකේ තියෙනවද real value එකක්? හරි අපි ගන්න 1000 note එක 1000 note එකේ තියෙනවද just a paper printed නේද? ඒක 1000 value එකක් නෑ. හැබැයි government එක තමයි කියන්නේ මේක 1000 valid කියලා. So that is why there's no real value behind these notes. Then 5000 note එක 5000 worth එක නෑ. ඒක just a piece of paper, right? Correct. හැබැයි they are accepted by everyone. So which provide you the authority to go and purchase goods worth of 5,000. So that is the difference between those the metal money. Metal money wala or metal coins wala value එකක් තියෙනවා. Gold coin, the coin itself has a value. And by the notes coins itself does not contain any real value, but the value is being given by the required authority, especially in Sri Lanka, the central bank. And the central bank provide that authority. Yes, it's a valid view. Yeah, you can go and purchase 1,000 worth of goods by using 1,000 note. You can go and purchase goods worth of 5,000 by using a 5,000 note. Correct. So that's what about the use of notes and coins. Remember that, notes and coins. දැන් බලන්න ඔයා note එකක් ගත්තට පස්සේ ඒකේ ගහලා තියෙනවා නේද this note is valid to do any transaction in Sri Lanka, so something like that. So give that authority. ඉතින් අපි ඒ ගැන ඉස්සරහට කතා කරන money and lesson එකේදී now for example order just explain කරොත් okay, let me open some sample notes and share you the content. Right. If you notice, ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේකේ ගහලා තියෙනවා නේද? මේ බලන්න මම මේක සිංහලෙන් කියන්න. මොනවද කියන්නේ? ශ්‍රී ලංකාන්ඩුව වෙනුවෙන් නිකුත් කරන මෙන්න මුදල් නෝට්ටුව ශ්‍රී ලංකාව ඇතුළත ඕනෑම මුදල් ගණනක් ගෙවීම සඳහා නිකුත් කරනවා. So something like that. So which provide you the ability where you can purchase goods and services. So this is what we know as the notes and coins issued by some government authorized organization, which is as to this Central Bank of Sri Lanka. So not that every person can issue this one, but there's an authorized organization in the government. So when we come to this part, as you see, which we provide the fact of the authority here. Yes, so which is very convenient for us to use. So it rectifies the inconvenience. Gold coin, silver coin, saranyan hari mamaru. In terms of weightage, in terms of the risk, but here it's easy for us to transport as well. So that is why this intrinsic value, it do not contain any intrinsic value. Why? Because there's only the value of this piece of paper. Other than there's no value. But the value has been provided by the government. So this includes notes and coins issued by the government authority. Shall we write a couple of examples? Example 1,000 note, 5,000 note. Shall we write this? But remember, depend on the country to country, they issue different kind of notes and coins, right? In Sri Lanka, rupees. In United States of America, it's dollars, right? It's in UK, it's pound, sterling pound. In India, it's Indian rupees, right? In Europe, it's euro. Not that the same countries issuing the same notes and coins. Remember that part as well, right? So based on the country to country, so what they try to issue. In ayika තමයි අපේ fourth stage එක. Fourth stage. Can we also write this sort of example? Let me share, right? Depend on the country. Shall you write this example under the fourth step? Sri Lanka rupees Great Britain pound, USA dollar, even Australia dollars, but it's not the same dollar, right? Australian dollar is a different one. European Union, Euro, right? Because why some of the years they have tested. Now, if you check the past papers, you see that. Igulana may country use karana currency type the name of the currency. So different notes and coins issued by different countries. But somehow this comes under the fourth stage of the evaluation of the money, which is issue of notes and coins.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Anand.
Sir, make tute again, sir. Make a liyaganne.
You have to take this under the fourth step. Which is page number 21. Just liyaganna පුළුවන් ඔයාගේ මෙතන right couple of examples. You don't have like a dedicated space for this, right? But you can just take under the fourth step in this particular evaluation process, right? Somewhere like within brackets or so where you find any space, you can take this. But right, just 2 or 3 examples are fine, right? Sri Lanka rupees, Great Britain pound, USA dollar. So likewise, couple of examples to show that each country issued a different set of notes and coins. So that is the fourth stage of the evaluation of money. Hi, බලනවා ඊළඟ evaluation එක මොනවාද? Use of bank money. Use of bank money. හරි. එහෙනම් මෙතනින් නැවතුනේ නෑ නේද? දැන් මේකත් ප්‍රශ්න තිබුණා නේද? මොනවාද ප්‍රශ්න? මේ print කරපු money තරන් යන්න බෑ. risk එකක් තියෙනවා. සමහරට බාර වැඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන් coins වගේ. එහෙනම් මොනවාද ඔයාට පුළුවන්? Use of bank money. But remember bank money කිව්වට පස්සේ savings accounts, debit card, credit card අයිති වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා මතක තියාගන්න. Bank money is only about what? Use of checks. එහෙනම් check එකක් issue කරනවා දන්නවා අනිවාර්යෙන්ම current account එකක් තියෙනවා. So there are like types of accounts. Savings accounts, fixed deposits, but likewise when you have a current account in a bank, you can issue checks. So the bank money is all about checks, using a current account. Yeah, you don't have to worry about these. Again, like I said, lesson number 7, money and financial institutes. අපි මේ ගැන detail කතා කරනවා. But remember the step, bank money, it's all about use of checks means with the current account, because you should be having a current account in order to issue a check. Let's imagine you are 10 million, right? 10 million. එහෙනම් 10 million වෙන කෙනෙක්ට payment එකක් කරද්දි වෙන්න පුළුවන් transaction එක වෙදී it's a risk නේද? ඔයාලට මේක risk එකක් තව කෙනෙකුට රැගෙන යන එකේ. But it's just a matter of you are issuing a check. It's very safe in terms of the security and the risk. So that is why especially it's really easy when you issue checks, when you do some business transactions for your suppliers, right, for your customers, that you receive or you issue checks. So that's what the next evaluation step. Again, a reminder to you, bank money in just the use of checks using the current accounts. So we cannot consider savings account, debit cards, none other those things comes under this particular setup, right? So bank money is all about checks and use of current accounts. Shall we write within this provided space, which is a step number 5, bank money example. Can we write these checks within bracket current account? Just a piece of paper that you can write. But let me share a sample of a check as well for your knowledge.
Sir, මේ checks කියලා නේ sir ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ bank money එකට.
Yes, bank money. හරි මේ බලන්න මම එන්නම් tube එක පැත්තට. It's just an example. මේ බලන්න bank money වලට example එක මොනවාද? Checks. Use of checks. Now let me share some checks to you, right? Sample of checks. මම හිතන්නේ මේක හැමෝම දැකලා තියෙන සාමාන්‍ය check අපි මේ ගැන විස්තර කතා කරන lesson number 7 එකට ආවට පස්සේ ඔයා දැක්කොත් මෙතන දැක්කන amount එක අපිට මේක අරගෙන යන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ මේ විදිහට amount එක දාලා so we can use check nේද the banks that we use it so likewise the usage of checks, right? Correct. So hope you find right not any difficulties with that. Correct. Then finally අද අපි මොනවද use කරනවා use of electronic money, right? In other checks වලට එහායින් ගිහිල්ලා usage of electronic money, debit cards, credit cards, e-banking, so everything comes under this particular e-banking and නැත්නම් use of electronic money. Shall we write a couple of examples?
Sir, use of bank money වලට examples නැද්ද?
Use of bank money තමයි Sanet, usage of checks example. You see the screen, right? Usage
Yes,
of
sir.
checks.
Yes, sir.
So that is the example. And use of electronic money වලට තමයි ඔයාලට මෙන්න මේ examples ටික දාගන්න පුළුවන්, right? You can see now. Right. Credit cards, debit cards, sometimes even prepaid cards, something like sometimes we use to recharge, right? Some prepaid cards. So credit card, debit card comes under this particular use of electronic money. අපි නැත්නම් කියන plastic cards කියලා. Plastic cards නැත්නම් මේ debit credit cards. It's really easy, right? It's not like that you are using checks. If you want to have some printed money, so you can just go and withdraw from an ATM. Otherwise, you can just use to purchase your goods and services. Right, now coming to the next part, that's about it, right? So talking about the concept of commerce. හරි එහෙනම් මේ බලන්න මෙන්න මේ විදිහට අපි කොතනින්ද පටන් ගත්තේ? Direct production එකකින් self sufficient economy එකක ඉඳලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි ආවා specialization, exchange of goods or the barter system. එහෙනම් barter system එකකින් පස්සේ introduction of money. එහෙනම් මෙන්න දැන් අපි ඉන්නවා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අද අපි ඉන්න business world එකේ. දැන් අපි කියන commerce, right? So commerce is consist of what? It's all about trade. Why the trade is important? Trade is buying and sell. You buy and you sell. That is what happened, right? Sometimes. So you purchase something and you sell. Trade. එහෙනම් buyer කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා, seller කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. මතක අර carrot market එකේ මොකද උනේ කියන එක. Right? Carrot market what happened? Carrot කෙනා seller අනිත් පැත්තේ buyer කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. But not only that, right? So we have business support services in a commerce කියන එක හැදලා තියෙන්නේ not just trade. So it's just the trade plus business support services. What do you mean by business support services? In order to conduct the trade in a smooth manner, trade එක පහසුවෙන් කරන්න මොනවාද තියෙන අනිත් supporting services? So where you have banking, where you have insurance, where you have what else? Warehousing, transportation, communication. This everything comes under business support service, which means that in order to perform the trade in a smooth manner, trade එක ලේසියෙන් කරගෙන යනවාට banking තිබුණා නම් ලේසි නේ. දැන් checks issue කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඔයාට online transaction කරන්න පුළුවන්, e-banking everything. හැබැයි ඒක තිබ්බේ නැත්නම් banking තිබුණ නැත්නම් trade කරන්න පුළුවන්, but it's really difficult. Imagine without having proper communication method. So how we try to communicate with our buyers and sellers? Now imagine without communication, how I let you know that whether the class is conducted today. So I need to send you the class link and the information. I need to share the class details, tunes with you. So without the communication, how we can do that? So not possible. So in order to do a trade, yes, you need to have this particular business support services. Now for your information, these are the set of lessons that we'll be studying in our grade 12 syllabus. If you might remember the first day I did the explanation about the lessons. Let me revise you. Trade, which is the lesson number 11. Banking and finance, which is the lesson number 7. Insurance, lesson number 8. Warehouse, lesson number 10 negative. Transportation, lesson number again 10. Communication, lesson number 9. ඊළඟ මොනවද ඉගෙන ගන්න grade 12 එකේදී trade plus auxiliary services මේක අපි in detail කතා කරනවා because why we have separate lesson under grade 12 syllabus for this part. Now remember the fact that commerce is about trade plus your business support services. අපි මේකට තවත් වචනයක් කියනවා auxiliary services කියලා. Why? In order to conduct the trade, you need to have the proper support from these services. If not, that's really difficult for you to conduct your business operations, to conduct your buying and selling process. Right, you don't have to take this. Why? Because I have already included that in this particular content. හරි බලන්න එහෙනම් trade එක නේද? trade එකත් අපිට ආපහු බෙදන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි detail කතා කරනවා නේද? local and foreign. අපි කියන්නේ දේශීය සහ විදේශීය වෙළඳාම්. So local means home trade. අපි තවත් වචනයක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. local trade, home trade, internal trade, නේද? whatever the name you call. නේද? ලංකාවේ ඇතුළත වෙන trade එක. අනිත් පැත්ත foreign trade නේද? පිටරට. එහෙනම් local එක ආපහු බෙදනවා retail සහ wholesale කියලා. wholesale අපි කිව්වොත් තොග නේද? retail කියන්නේ සිල්ලර වෙළඳාම සහ තොග වෙළඳාම. මේ වගේ අපි detail කතා කරනවා. So I'm not going to into much detail. Foreign again import and export. නේද? අපි කියන්නේ ආනයන අපනයන. So we say we export tea. මතක තියාගන්න මොකක්ද export කියන්නේ? We try to provide a good to another country. We sell to another country. I would say we export apparel. We export tea. We export tea to China. We export apparel to Europe. Something like that. Import is where we purchase goods and services from another country. We purchase fuel. So we import fuel. We actually almost all the goods now import nowadays. We import gas. We import let's say what else? We import dairy products. We import vehicles, right? So likewise, import is where you purchase from another country. You purchase from another country. Export is where you sell to another country. Just example, tea and apparel or the garments, and purchase fuel. So those are what we import. Correct. අපි මේවා ගැන one by one කතා කරනවා. එහෙනම් අනිත් පැත්ත auxiliary services, banking, transport, insurance, communication මේ set එකම අපි ළඟ කතා කරනවා. Why? In the grade 12 syllabus we have separate topics for these. Right. Okay, so then the next part I'll take up to next day, which is the commerce. Nowadays we have e-commerce, අපි කියන්නේ electronic commerce, electronic businesses මේවා ගැනත් අපිට කතා කරන්න තියෙනවා, right? So not only that we have a commerce nowadays, but we try to do it electronically, right? Now let me a quick recap on what we discussed. Yes, I started from the goals and objectives, the goals and aims of a business. So we summarized that, and then we came to the evaluation of business. So it's really important how the evaluation took place throughout the period. And then coming to the barter system, we discussed a lot of drawbacks or the limitations in the barter system. So again, in detail kata kara with some more examples. So then we came to the concept of the commerce, right? So trade plus business support services, and also we talk about the fact that how the evaluation of money took place. The reason is why the best answer or the best solution for these drawbacks is the introduction of money, even what we consider this as the second stage of the money. The second stage of the business evaluation. Right, good. So now coming back to you guys one by one. Okay, so I just want to know from your end what you struggle, what are the set of questions that you have. Right, who else we have? Anila, from your end, are we good? Everything? Any question from your end? Okay, good. So now some of the students inform me that there are a couple of power cuts are happening. Some are I join because due to that case, if you have any sort of things, please drop a message so where I can send you the recording, right? Good, right. So who else we have? Martisha, all good. Nothing, all good. Okay, thank you very much. Samit,
Yes, sir.
okay, good, right. Joshua, is that everything good? I noticed that you also sometime you left and joined again, right? So please
Excuse
ask
me,
your
sir.
yes, Samit. Yeah,
Sir, මේ මට recording එක ගන්න පුළුවන් නේද sir?
yeah, sure. I'll send it to you. I'll send it.
Okay, sir.
Right. Joshua, is that all good from your end? Right. Hi, Joshua. You are there, right?